All right, let me tell you some interesting knowledge. So we know that 1776 is when the millennial reign came to an end. So if you were to try to figure out, how long the devil's season is, just go back and look at World War II. I do believe it's 100 years before the end, which would be, 2047. So Hitler came into power in 1933. He was an Illuminati actor. I'm sure that when the cameras went down, a lot of these people were laughing because they know it's all fake. Most of it is choreographed. I did see pictures of the Civil War that made me laugh out loud, like it is obviously staged. I did see pictures of World War II that look, choreographed and staged. I did read last year where they were coming up with excuses why there are no skeletons or dead bodies at the bottom of the so-called Titanic, which we know is the Olympic, and coming up with excuses. And I swear to you, I think I laughed out loud like 5 or 6 times. I went back and listened to the Titanic survivor stories. Dude, they don't even line up with each other. These idiots. I don't know if they're like mocking the masses, but their testimonies don't even line up with each other. So I'm going to say that every major story is some kind of lie or deception. They probably melted the Titanic and the Olympic, mixed them in with, BMWs or very expensive cars for the elite, the Illuminati, people that are part of the secret club. They mixed them with their expensive cars so they can drive around laughing and talking about the tragic Titanic story, blah, blah, blah. So let's go over here. World War II ended 1947. So if I had to guess, I'm going to say, the Devil's season will probably come to an end in maybe 48, 49, probably 275 years, somewhere around there would be the time frame of his season. I do believe New Jerusalem is floating probably 1,000 miles, 500 miles above the North Pole. There's no question. The scriptures say that New Jerusalem will come down onto the earth, which means it has to, be up in the air, and it is most likely over the region that we call the North Pole, which is probably why these unexplainable, beautiful lights are going on, the northern lights. Now, there is something very fascinating. Now, I am 100% convinced that ancient Jerusalem was in the location where they built Las Vegas, and this devil honoring scumbag named Chris Angel has a painting where he is just happens to be looking down on the crucifixion, all right, which is most likely, how the Illuminati like to mock the masses. He's looking down at the crucifixion because it happened in the territory that we call Las Vegas. So if you have time, definitely go check out this video. You'll see, a devil occultic member mocking the masses. I do know this: if I was a devil and I wanted to, mock or disrespect the Savior of the world who shed his blood for the sins of the world, I would have my pyramid sitting right on the location where he shed his blood, and I would have, high dollar, beautiful prostitutes in my, hotel room that looks like a pyramid where they are fornicating and doing sinful things, probably snorting lines of cocaine off strippers, and whatever else. Abominations. They could be, sacrificing, kids and drinking their blood, whatever, doing abominations right on top of the location where Yeshua the Christ shed his blood. This is what I would do if I was the scumbag devil. So it's probably this pyramid with this bright light. There is something else very fascinating. I stopped a couple months ago and had to go look at a railroad bridge because I was very suspicious that it's not made of stone. What you are looking at, a lot of these old abandoned railroad bridges, these are not stones cut out of the side of a mountain. What you are looking at is the millennial reign concrete formula that we are not allowed to use. It's probably 4 times the strength of the concrete that we use, and this generation is not allowed to use that super strong concrete formula, because we are like the joke generation. We are the generation that is, getting mocked, disrespected, deceived. The criminal elite print up these banknotes out of thin air. They do not have to be backed up by any precious metals. You can back them up with gravel or dirt. It doesn't matter, as long as the working class is willing to work for these printed up out of thin air banknotes. They will always hold value. They will always have value. It doesn't matter if they print up 10 warehouses full of money. As long as the working class does not get their hands on that money, they will continue to work. Does everybody understand? If you started handing out money to the working class, they're all going to quit their jobs, and the economy would come to an end, and we would all starve to death, pretty much. All the grocery stores would be emptied out, and on and on and on. So, money that's printed up out of thin air banknotes is just it's part of the joke generation. We are the generation being deceived. All right, now I do have to show you all something very interesting. I do believe they are already programming everyone about some floating alien thing above the earth. Go watch the movie Oblivion with Tom Cruise. It is very fascinating. I've watched it twice, looking for hints and clues. I will say this. This might sound upsetting to some of you, but I am convinced that after watching that movie, and we could be spirit clones that are strategically different from one another. If you read the scriptures, the powerful creator, just, plain and simple, let's make man in our image, and you go study that word image. It means to duplicate, copy, and even clone. I do believe Nimrod, who played the role of the Antichrist, I think the criminal elite at that time, all right, try to imagine the criminal elite had capabilities of cloning. All these people had no clue in the world, so they blew his head off in front of the world, and then had the clone in some kind of casket, and then the false prophet Messiah guy, he prays over the casket with the clone in it, and he comes out, and the whole world marvels. It says they were able to make an image of the beast, and he was able to speak. So they probably already had a clone, and the whole world marveled. They could not believe it because they saw him get his head blown off or whatever. And then they all followed the beast and took the mark and blah, blah, blah. So they created some kind of entertaining deception using cloning. There's a high possibility that, this powerful creator, this King Yahweh, I don't know if he somehow cloned the core of what he is. And then we are all strategically different from one another. We have different attitudes, different goals, different dreams, different personalities, etc., etc. But, we could in fact be spirit clone characters. So the time frame is most likely, I don't know, from 1776 all the way up to, 2047, 48, maybe even 49. But the question is, are they going to create a counterfeit rapture, counterfeit tribulation, try to mimic the book of Revelation, or are they just going to, in the next 10, 20 years, come out and announce that there is a floating alien mothership floating above the North Pole, and we all need to, all nations need to unite to fight against this evil alien-like city, which it's actually New Jerusalem that's going to come down. But I'm telling you, just go watch a movie, put two and two together. I'm not sure which scenario they're going to play out. I know that probably if you see Ivanka Trump come into office in maybe 2028, you should probably really start, storing up on food, or, figure out how to survive in a basement with no power, no electricity, because we don't know which scenario they're going to play out.